Hey, you, what's up? This is Jason, Die Jasonist, the only one. Welcome to my channel. Thanks for tuning in. Today I'm going to cover a topic I'm really passionate about, which is the flow state. More precisely, I'm going to talk about my pre-contest and flow-inducing routine. So if you tend to crack under pressure at a contest, or you simply want to improve your performances a notch, stay tuned. I'm going to reveal all the details further in the video. I rode for a total of 18 years, and my professional career started as a show rider, which I did for 13 years out of that total. And I got to ride in China. That was really, really awesome. It couldn't have been better at the time. It was the wildest experience of my life, and I'm very grateful for that. And that show spirit, that experience led me to become a professional competitive athlete, which I did for 10 years. I started competing in China, which eventually translated into worldwide competitions, and I got to ride among the very best, and I qualified most of the time, and I got to make podiums very often as well. I really had a blast competing and doing shows, and I had the opportunity to throw some of my most difficult bangers, and I felt really accomplished as a person and as a former professional athlete, and I want you to succeed as well. I have failed a lot, but I've also succeeded a bunch, and that helped me tailor some very efficient programs and routines. I've also seen a lot of people fail and a lot of people succeed. So I possess deep insights into the demands of riding under pressure, what works and what doesn't. So the difference between a high performer with great delivery and an average performer with poor delivery resides in the strength of his or her program and the ability to get in a flow state and have efficient routines. Or, in other words, to get in the zone. Okay, so right now I'm not talking about the average person who's just showing up at a competition to have a good time with their buddies on a weekend. I'm talking to all the savages, all the destroyers out there who show up and want to deliver at their best, improve their performances, and get that goddamn #1 podium place. But to do that, you must master a bunch of elements such as stress, chaos, your time, your energy, all the external stimuli coming from the venue. And on top of that, you have to master a skill set that you want to display at the event. You must have the ability to deflect all the irrelevant stimuli, and you must be able to get in the zone on command with laser-like focus, because all these elements are what is driving you to the top. I'm soon going to reveal all the elements constituting my pre-contest flow state routine, and feel free to copy everything verbatim at your convenience, or simply grab some elements, integrate them with yours, or create a new routine altogether. The most important thing is that you integrate that routine in your pre-contest training program, and you implement that routine every time before qualifications and finals, because this is going to strengthen the effect of that routine. But first, let me talk about what happens at a contest and why is it so important to have such a routine. Number one thing that you have to do when you get to a venue is to get used to another surface or another playground. It doesn't matter how successful you were at home and how many perfect runs you had, now you need to adapt, and it requires a lot of focus. Then you have external stressors and stimuli. So you have a crowd in front of which you're riding. There's also other competitors. There's the noise from the venue, the music coming from it, and basically there is a lot of distraction coming from a contest. And if you don't know where and how to focus, chaos is going to devour you. Psychological stressors. Okay, so when you're at your home spot, you're a superhero. Everything's going fine. You're super chill. But the moment that the timer starts and someone scrutinizes your work, your mind goes blank, you start having chicken legs, and you become ultra self-conscious. Weird, right? And also, your mind may start going into the future and thinking about that position that you want to reach at the contest, which is also like a stress factor. It may make you anxious, or you may fall for the trap of thinking that you have to perform exactly like all the other riders that you have seen riding before you in order to get to the top. And that's not the only thing. You have paid an expensive airplane ticket to reach that venue, and now you're allowed 1 or 2 qualifying runs of 2 to 3 minutes, and maybe you're gonna qualify and you're gonna get to have a chance to display your skills for another 3 minutes to get as high as you can against the very best in the world. So you really need something that is grounding you and keeping you composed and in the moment, because otherwise the mind is just going everywhere, and then you can just crack under pressure and you fail one trick and that's it. You're gone. Bye-bye. All your expenses, boop, for nothing. Delays and passive waiting time are possibly the worst enemies of a competitor. If your body goes cold and you start experiencing intrusive and racing thoughts, it can wreck your performances. So you need to find a way to warm your body again and also get back into that performance mindset before you deliver. So this is why my routine integrates positive and savage affirmations. No intrusions allowed. Psychological pressure, stress, physical tension. These are all things that you have to deal with as a competitor. So you need to find ways to keep your mind straight, deflect all the bullshit so that you can focus on displaying your skills and the routine that you have mastered. And basically what you are doing is learning how to become the only person existing in the universe at that point in time. You become the riding, you become the routine, and this is why possessing a flow-inducing routine prior to a contest is so beneficial. There's a lot of stressors, there's a lot of stimuli, and the mind is being pulled in all kinds of directions. So how does such a routine help you curb all of these things? Well, first, by staying active instead of passively waiting, you warm up your body, which is keeping you loose and sharp, and it also helps you centering your mind. It brings you into the orderliness of the present moment and helps you manage chaos, stress. It also helps you filter irrelevant stimuli and shield yourself from all the distractions. So basically, this is the art of reducing your circle of concern and maintain a maximum amount of psychic and physical energy. When you become fully immersed in the present moment, you experience a singularity of focus. There's you, what you must accomplish, and you're executing one action at a time. And this awakens the warrior within. You are composed, yet ready. There's your game plan, it is clear, you know what you're going for, and nothing can pierce through your mental shield. There's only you and your routine. The more you practice your routine, the more it becomes a reflex and the more it becomes associated with a singularity of focus. So gradually, you just simply experience on a regular basis a pure state of focus and performance. And the more you rehearse it and integrate it in your pre-contest practice, the more your successful practice at your home spot becomes associated with the actual contest delivery. So this blueprint becomes your landmark for focus and performance in the land of pressure and chaos. Okay, so I'm going to really deliver that pre-contest routine, but first, just a quick personal anecdote. In 2021, I was in Denver and I was with one of my coaches, and I had no idea how strong my training was until I went to coach him at the contest, and I was just giving him cues about timing, staying warmed up, and giving him some advice. But I could feel within like my body gearing up and getting ready at every single stage. But the thing is, I was just attending someone else's need and sitting still on a chair. So really, this is how powerful your routine can become. And now, without further ado, I'm going to share my routine. Okay, so the first element of the routine was the Wim Hof breathing technique, which I did for 3 consecutive rounds. I did that first to relax. It was the first element that was a grounding and centering feature in the routine, and also it helped with oxygen delivery throughout the competition. So as a starter, it couldn't have been better. It goes as following. So you inhale until about 90%, you take a big gulp, and then you exhale powerfully, and you keep like somewhat like 20-30% of oxygen in your body, and you repeat. So it goes as following. Okay, so I do 30 repetitions like that, and at the 30th, I exhale thoroughly, and I hold my breath right there for something like, I think it was for as long as possible. Yeah, that's what it was. And then right after that, when you can no longer wait and you can no longer hold, you inhale as much as you can and you fill your lungs to full capacity. And then you hold for like 10 to 15 seconds. And once this is done, you repeat for another cycle. So I did 3 consecutive cycles like that. And I'm gonna post a link in the description below so you can see what he's doing and get a proper tutorial. Okay, so if there was a riding floor, I would do basic joint rotations for blood flow, make sure that I don't injure myself before I jump on my bike, and then I would proceed to do basic tricks, super simple. I would ride on both feet, and then I would do high repetitions, once again, making sure I don't injure myself, that my body is fully prepped. And that was another way of syncing with the bike and grounding myself with the floor, with the contest floor. And that was also an indicator of if I was riding on my sweet spot or not. My philosophy with the warm-up was minimal energy expenditure for maximum results. And I used to ride for something like 20 to 30 minutes, including the joint rotation and the basic tricks. I'm pretty fast twitched, which means that I warm up pretty fast and I cool down pretty fast as well. But it's also a matter of energy. Like my energy goes down super fast. So within a 20 to 30 minutes session, I had time to properly warm up, and I had all my cues as well. This is really important. Find your cues that are telling you that you are ready, and don't do more than that. This is really important because you want to keep the maximum energy for qualifications and finals. And everyone has different ranges as well regarding time. For example, I have a friend, Jean-William, who was a champion a few years ago and won a lot of contests, still is on top of his game, and it takes him about 45 minutes and maybe more to get in the zone. So really figure out your optimal timing and your cues. So an example of that would be, I had big combos. I'd break them in 3 parts. If I could dial them like 2 or 3 times each combos. And I also had another trick, personal signature trick, which was called the transformer. And when I could pull that trick 2 or 3 times, good, bye-bye, seal the deal, get ready for a contest. If you have a contest floor on which you can stay active, or you're about to perform right after you got ready, you probably don't need to do much. But otherwise, a good way to stay warmed up or to prep if you have to wait a significant amount of time, I would say more than 5 to 10 minutes, is to stay active by doing body weights exercise. I would jump rope, I would do jumping jacks, body weight squats, lunges, planks, push-ups. Just do a few reps, you stay activated. This is a really, really good way, once again, to stay sharp, to stay focused, and also to keep the body loose and the mind centered on what you have to do, and to like keep dispelling all the stress and keep you chilled up and be ready for what is about to come. And another really good thing to maintain your body heat, which by the way, it goes away like pretty fast, is to put on some extra gear. So to me, that was wearing a beanie and wearing a hoodie so I could conserve all that heat and stay ready for the contest. Maybe you're not a BMX rider and we practice different craft, but the message here is to get into a slow to mid pace where you get into your groove, but you're not draining your psychic and your physical energy. It's just about getting ready, getting in your groove, and then go and deliver. Another very important thing that I used personally was music. This is one of my biggest triggers, and it would also set the mood for different stages. So for instance, at the beginning when I would just warm up, I didn't need all that hype. So I would go with deep house music. So you can find something that's gonna help you tune in and get into your groove gradually, but you don't wanna get like too hyped too soon. You just start slow, mid-pace, and you roll with that. But as the contest got closer, now it was time to really hype things up and to go, for example, with like some heavy trap music. I listened to Rick Ross. It was getting me into some gangster mood, and I was rehearsing all my positive affirmations and all my savage affirmations. Like, to me, I had a persona, and that music helped me embody that persona. So at first I started chill, but then it was time to kill. It was time to destroy. I was going on the floor, and it was time to obliterate everyone that was standing in my way. And this is my style. But I worked with other writers, and they're the complete opposite. They're super social, they're super chill. So that's what they embody. So really find your groove, find your music, and find the character that you want to embody, because that's what you're delivering. As you keep going through the motion, you listen to your beat, you embody your character, you're rehearsing your positive affirmation. Remember to visualize yourself to really further reinforce the spontaneity of what you want to deliver on the floor. And finally, as I would get to the contest floor, I used to stomp on the ground. Sometimes I would yell, and always I would start pedaling at full speed on the spot. And then I would throw in either a super basic trick or a confidence combo, and that was it. Game was on. Another example that comes to mind are the Muay Thai fighters. So every time that they step into the ring, they do a dance. They have that ritual. They want to honor their teacher, their family. They want to invoke the gods and have all of this power. And all these elements, everything that I've just told you from the whole list, from beginning till the end, up until like throwing that basic trick, are all reinforcing one another, and they're all driving you into the moment and into a flow state. And then it's powerhouse time. So I'm really stoked that I shared my personal routine with you. I hope that it might help you at contest or in life in general. For instance, I broke down my whole writing game, and now I'm applying that into everything that I'm doing. So a lot of the things that I'm doing, that I was doing at the contest, I still do prior to a training session. To me, this is religion. Like, there's no life without training. So I make it into a ritual every single time that I go to the gym. And these things are all driving me into the present and to making the very best out of every single training session. But not only that, they help making my life better, because I implement all kinds of routines in my daily life, whether it be in the training sessions or in my workflow, to really get the best out of every day and the best out of every sessions. If you need help, if you want to learn more about the flow states, or if you want to outright step your game up right now and deliver best performance, then come and chat with me on Instagram. You can find me at TheJasonist. I will post the link down below in the description. Likewise, if you have any comments, any suggestions, or anything that you would like to see in an up-and-coming video, feel free to comment down below. Thanks a lot for watching. I wish you the best and may you realize your full potential. See you!